Hi everyone. I'm really excited to show you the tracker I built, inspired from the DIY Money team, from the podcasts, the Getting Started podcasts from earlier in 2024. Actually, one of the quotes that like resonated with me was, "If we're not, if businesses can track their own expenses, like all these Fortune 500 companies, their primary goals are to survive as a business, and they track every meticulous expense. Why don't we, like everyday citizens?" And that really resonated. And so I decided to try to kind of take that as a challenge for me last year, um, early 2025. And so I use Google Sheets to track my expenses, and but you can also use Microsoft Excel or any other tool. I'm going to just walk you through my sheet and how I created this, and hopefully this will be useful for you if you're interested. So this is kind of like what the output looks like at the end, but I can show you kind of like how I put this together at the very beginning. So I'm just gonna like create a new tab by selecting this plus button. So like the very beginning of the year, I did like January daily expense, and then I had like my categories up here. I just had the date, description, the category, the cost, method of payment, and whether it was fixed or variable, like the team suggested when they described how they tracked. So I tried to replicate it as best as I could, but made it fit for myself. So the beginning of the month, I wrote down like, well, what do I pay that day? And the first day of the month, I paid rent. So I wrote down, or I typed out March 1st. I typed out my March rent. I created a set of categories, um, and then I selected rent for that category, and then I typed in how much it costs, how I paid my rent. My landlord took Venmo for this in this case, and then whether it was fixed or variable. By the way, this is not my real expense for that month. I changed the description and cost just for the demonstration purposes, because I don't want to show my actual expenses. That's okay. But yeah, I wanted to show you how I kind of created these categories. You can adjust these categories however makes sense for you. If you want to modify them, you can select this edit button, and that'll give you this right panel where you can modify, you can delete, and you can add categories like so. Like later in the year, I might, my spouse and I are expecting a baby, so I added baby stuff here as a category, and then I can now include that as a category for when we go shopping for baby stuff. So to actually, like, if I wanted to recreate that here, I would then type in date, um, date, description, category, cost, method of payment, description, category, cost, and then what was the other one? Method of payment, and then fixed or variable. Yeah, that's kind of like how you could start from blank if you want to start from blank. I think there might be um, like templates that you might be able to find. I wonder if they have templates here. Do they have templates? They may have some pre-built templates that you can choose from as well. But just for the like, if we wanted to start from blank, you can do like January 1st rent for the month, or just rent, and then uh yeah, January, and then that would be rent. The cost would be 2,500. Um, fixed, and then this one would be from Venmo, like I mentioned. So if I wanted to create my categories from here, I would, what I can do is I can select this entire column, and then I think it's under format. I think you select convert to table, and that's how I got the same type of um, look and feel here. And then I and then for this category, I think there's a way you can make it like a drop down. Oh, here. Okay, so you take the cell, you right click, and then you select drop down. And that's where you can create your categories. So right now I have rent. I can then add another column for or another category for meals, another one for like shopping, another one for transportation, and whatever categories you want. So that's how I would do it from blank. You can do that also for fixed or variable. You right click a cell, select drop down, add one for variable, and that's that. And so like I paid rent January 1st, January 2nd. Let's say I also paid for um, January 1st. I also paid for gas, so that would be transportation. That would, let's say I spent like $40 on that with my Chase card. Um, yeah, again, I oh, it already created uh, a pre-generated the categories for me there. Um, that one's a variable cost. Okay, and yeah. So let's say I just add a couple of more, just just like just for examples. Let's say I went bought a shirt. I also, let's say I went and got food. So this one would be shopping. This one would be food. Um, let's say my shirt was $20, so the food was like $30. Obviously, you would be using the real numbers you spent. I just made it a dollar format by just selecting this currency, just because I like to, just helpful, easier for my eyes. Let's say I use my Chase credit card for this. They're both variable expenses because they vary per month. And now let's say I want to show you something else in my tab that's been really helpful. I have this column called categorical costs, which basically sums up all the uh, how much I spent per category. So rent is fixed, it's 2,500. Let's say that like um, I wanted to know how much in total we spent per meals, groceries, transportation, utilities. There's a pretty cool formula. It's simple. Don't get intimidated by it. I know, like, for people, like, sometimes I don't use Sheets or Excel. I'm not like a Excel guru, but there are some like formulas that'll help simplify how much you simplify these calculations for you. So I use this formula called a sum if, and basically what that's doing, it's saying summarize the total amount in a sheet if you can see this C and C uh, column is highlighted. So if the word meals is in the columns C with the dollar amount in D, generate that amount in this cell. That's basically what this formula is doing. So you can like pause the video if you want to like take a look at the formula. Um, the word does have to be in quotation. So and the word meals has to match the exact like how it's spelled and formatted in your category, or else it won't calculate it. And so you can see I spent $560 on meals in the month of March. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's just how much we spent. And that's something just to that's a really helpful way of just being aware of how much we spent for that month and for each of these categories. I do that for each, and that's just a way of like quickly seeing how much we spent per category, and a good way to spot check whether or not um, like this is the total right here of how much we spent for the entire month, and then this is the total